Hey, what's up, Steelers Nation? I'm Tyler Feldman. We were waiting all night for that. Got to be kidding me.
And I'm Ben Bobick. The Steelers are who we thought they were.
And I'm Wayne Gandy. Tucker Kraft making Swiss cheese of the defense. Let's go here on the Pittsburgh Steelers Squad Show.
Wave those terrible towels. It's the Steelers Squad. Everything Pittsburgh Steelers every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Steel City. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. From the steel curtain to the next generation, the Steelers Squad Show starts now.
Yes, it unfortunately does. This is the Steelers Squad Show right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Again, I'm your host, Tyler Feldman. On tonight's show, we're talking all things Sunday Night Football, full recap, instant reaction, expert analysis, and so much more. Ben Bobick, Wayne Gandy, the Steelers got off to a hot start. They were clicking. Things were looking good. Up 9 at halftime, and then I don't know what happened. I saw at the start of the second half, underneath the Steelers logo at midfield, I could see Pitt's logo at midfield. First time I saw that all game, and I said, we're screwed. We're screwed. Packers offensively making the defense for the Steelers, Wayne, you said it, looked like Swiss cheese. 35-25, your final at Acrisure Stadium here tonight. Steelers fall to 4-3, now 2-2 on their home field. The Packers now 5-1-1, 2-1-1 away from home. Jordan Love ripping that Steelers secondary, 360 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Wayne, I want to get your initial thoughts on this travesty that continues to happen with these Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, you saw the Pitt logo, and I saw us start the second half with 3 straight passes. And that's when I knew we were in trouble. Because what we had going in that first half was physicality. We were running the ball well. We were dictating to them. And then we come out and we go back to this, okay, we're going to get it out on the edge. Run right at it. And then I don't know if I've ever seen a game on the pro level with that bad of tackling. That's what's seared into my head right now. The tackling I thought was like, it must be tagged. Maybe the football has changed because I've never seen that bad of tackling. When the tight end, it didn't matter who caught the ball. Anything out on the edge, anything dropped into the secondary, it seemed like guys were just falling off the runner and just giving up so much after the catch that it started getting embarrassing there for a while. It was good coverage, but the tackling was just atrocious tonight, and it's something that's you're in the pros now. That's a man thing. That's not something you go out, and that's why I brought you here, because you could tackle. I have no idea where that aspect came into play, but it was like the tale of two halves. I don't know who the team. Maybe I'm lost. I'm hoping that you and Ben. I'm not even emotional because it's not always about whether you lost. It's because sometimes it is just how you lost the game, more than that you lost the game. And that's how I felt tonight, watching the Steeler team just be so lackluster in their intensity and let Green Bay decide they were going to make this Lambeau field. I was afraid somebody was going to do Lambeau leap there in the Steel City.
Wayne, you say that you're lost. If you're lost, I'm in a forest with no sunlight and no breadcrumbs to, get my path corrected. Ben, this is the most expensive defense in the league by more than $17 million. And then time and time again, Wayne talking about tackling. We're going to tackle all the issues that went down here tonight. The one play that stands out to me early in that second half, Deshaun Elliott actually got hurt on the play. But what was he doing? And then he couldn't tackle anyone. Juan Thornhill couldn't tackle anyone. That was a play that kept happening in this ball game, and you have another game where the opposing team scores 30-plus points.
Yeah, I know. And for a minute there, I'm thinking, man, Jordan Love's just chucking it up, and they're being successful on it. But that was not the case. I mean, 20 straight completions. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's someone dicing up your defense through and through. And I think the double-edged sword there with the Sean Elliott, that play is then he gets hurt. And then not only is he hurt, it looks like he's a significant injury because he gets carted off the field and taken to the locker room. He can't put any weight on his knee, which is now you're thinking, man, this has gone from bad to worse because this defense hasn't been playing well. Deshaun Elliott's sort of the key to that defense and that secondary playing well. And now he's being carted to the locker room. I mean, it was just, oh my gosh, everything left and right. And I think and we thought maybe, hey, if they stopped the run, maybe they could be successful. They stopped the run pretty well. And they did a good job of bottling up Josh Jacobs. But here's the thing. It didn't matter. He couldn't get any pressure on Jordan Love, and he was able to dice them up. And it's just demoralizing if you're a Steelers fan sitting there watching that happen, knowing that this is supposed to be the strong point of your football team, and they're falling apart in front of your eyes.
This was a team that was 4-1 just not too long ago, and now we're sitting looking at 4-3, and we thought maybe this could happen. Wayne, what's the issue here defensively? Because you can pinpoint a lot of different things. I keep looking at TJ Watt. He's the guy getting the most money. He had 6 total tackles, just 2 solo. Obviously, the offensive line for opposing teams, they're honing in on TJ, but man, you got to do a little bit more, right?
Well, and that's the thing. Tonight when I watched TJ, they were not that concerned. You know, you got a chip here and there, but it was a game where the right tackle was holding his own enough to be able to keep TJ and any of those. Even when we brought the blitz, I don't know that a blitz got there all night in a way that truly affected Jordan Love. So when you look at the defense as a whole, I don't know if it's just everybody's a superstar kind of player. I know that guys, it's more than just names. We've seen in all levels of sports where you assemble a whole bunch of names and that doesn't win either. It's a mentality. And they were actually reacting the way I thought they were in the second half. I felt like coming out of the Cincinnati game, I was going to see a better fit with the secondary. They were going to be able to stop the run, which they did in that first half. And then the second half, the tackling was bad from the jump. So don't get that confused. It was bad tackling the whole game, but at least there seemed to be an effort, a physicality to missing the tackles. And then it just became a snowball. And this tight end, who I didn't even know, but now I know. Like, you know, in one game, I go from not knowing a guy to looking forward to seeing this guy play, you know, and seeing what he could do. So I think that this is a in the locker room, man-to-man 53 squad issue. This isn't one of those, let me get on and hit Coach Tomlin up with some kind. This was, you're in the fight and you're winning. You got in the middle rounds and the body blows started to affect you. And you didn't have anything to counter. Chris Boswell hitting big field goals. The offense is moving. I mean, we threw the ball to Spencer Anderson on like the second, third play of the game. I mean, you know, I've been waiting on that because you have to keep defenses honest, you know, because when he comes in, people are going to think, oh, they're never going to do anything. Well, at least it showed that he does have the ability to catch a 2-3 yard pass at some point in the season. But it was just a total lack of energy, effort, execution in that second half.
The second half was an utter joke because Ben and I both picked Green Bay to actually win this football game, but I did not expect the Steelers to have such a strong first half, a first half where they had the lead and had momentum going into the second half. But what we saw in the second half was unacceptable. Tucker Kraft, 7 catches, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. I could understand if it was still Heinz Field, because the Kraft-Heinz merger, it would have made more sense that he would have played that well on that field. No, it's Acrisure Stadium. How does a guy like that? Now, I'm not discrediting what he did, but Ben, are there changes that need to happen, whether it's Darrell Austin, guys actually on the field? What needs to change with the Steelers team? Because I'll tell you what, right now, this team is not where they need to be, and where the fans in the comments here tonight, everyone is ticked off, and they have a right to be ticked off, because this is just not good enough.
Yeah, they got to start playing with an edge, man. That's what we thought we were going to see tonight, especially after that Bengals game, the way they were embarrassed in Cincinnati by Joe Flacco. I mean, it was just, there's no playing with an edge. They weren't getting after the quarterback. They weren't making Jordan Love uncomfortable. And quite frankly, when they did, the few times that they did, he made plays. And I know that was one of our keys to talk to is getting pressure with him, and he still made plays. And so they just need to start playing with an edge. They're at their best when they're stopping the run and then getting after the quarterback, though. But also, something to note, what is this? I think it's the third game in a row they've created no turnovers. The Steelers defense thrives off takeaways. It's the third straight game they haven't had a turnover. Obviously, they got away with it against Cleveland because it's Cleveland. You didn't really need to create a turnover there when you're playing the Browns, but could have used one last week against Cincinnati. Definitely could have used one tonight against the Packers. So they need to get back to playing with that edge and creating splash plays. They need to get after the quarterback, whether that's scheme, whether that's, hey, timing up some blitzes to where we're getting in advantageous situations, if you will. But I think it comes down to that secondary playing a little bit better, though, because I mean, we know what the front seven can do, but I think that secondary, they're playing a lot of man-to-man coverage, and they're relying on Jalen Ramsey and Joey Porter Jr. and Darius Slay. And quite frankly, they haven't been up to the billing these past 2 games, especially. I mean, they got torched by Jamar Chase against the Cincinnati, and they just got torched by Tucker Kraft in Green Bay. I mean, it's tough. They need to start playing with an edge, and it's not going to get any easier when you have maybe the best offense in the NFL coming to town next Sunday with Danny Dimes and Jonathan Taylor, is having an MVP like season. I mean, it only gets tougher from here. We talked about this stretch. We're in the kitchen now, man. You just got blown out by the Packers at home on Sunday Night Football. Now you got the 7-1 Colts coming to town, and then you got to go to Los Angeles to play a really good Chargers team. So it does not get any easier.
It is a gauntlet, and we'll get to that gauntlet later on in the show. Just real quickly, I know people are on edge after this loss. The name of the field has nothing to do with it. Look, I was kidding. I'm trying to create some levity in an evening. I know it's late, but okay, let's deep breaths, everyone. Wayne, any positives before we go to break on this first 15-minute block here on this show here tonight? Any positives to take away from a game like this?
Chris Boswell.
Wow, we've been
yeah.
For him to have that confidence that back to back over 50 yards, a night game is cool. I mean, that's the only thing I can tuck away in my pocket. It started off, I felt like the O-line, I thought the scheme of the blocking was great. They're expanding that whole, I don't know what package they call it, but the double tight end, the Spencer, and we had to get away once Samalu got hurt. We did have to get away from that. That was a big blow for how they want to run the ball and keep Spencer Anderson in that tight end position. And for the most part, even the protection in the first half by the O-line was solid. I felt like with Jones and Fatanu, they could hang a little bit with Parsons because that's the kind of rushers they get in practice. More of a linebacker. I think I said that more of a linebacker rush than a DN rush. And then the second half started happening. They kind of got away from chipping on Parsons. And whenever he got into that little stacked linebacker look, the guards could not handle him. But to me, the defense didn't complement the offense tonight. And you feed off of each other. And so, we have to take turns. The offense was up, moving well. The defense showed no life in the second half.
Aaron Rodgers had a chance to do something. He could have defeated every single NFL team had the Steelers won tonight. Not that it matters, really. They didn't win. He didn't get to accomplish that feat. We've got 45 more minutes on this show here tonight, talking all things Steelers falling to the Packers on Sunday Night Football, 35-25. Coming up next, we're going to head to Wayne's World and continue to break down exactly what went wrong and possible answers, because at this point, you've got to find solutions. The Steelers need to find solutions. You can complain all you want. Calls didn't go the Steelers' way. They didn't get it done in the second half, but the Steelers need to find solutions. We'll talk about those solutions next, right here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement throughout this sports season. Whether you're following the NFL, NBA, or both, there's no better time to jump in on the action. If you haven't tried it yet, PrizePicks is the simplest way to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get them right, you win. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your lineup, and you can play anywhere PrizePicks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. I've been using PrizePicks during both football Sundays and NBA tip-offs. It keeps every game exciting. Unless the Steelers lose, then it's really not all that exciting. The new Stacks feature is a game changer. Plus, if one of your players leaves early with an injury, the injury reboot saves my lineup from a loss. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. And hey, let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard of them before. It's just stress. I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED, designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rugiet makes it so easy to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matter. So visit Rugiet.com/LockedOnNFL to get 15% off your first order. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNFL so they know we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. Speaking of making moves, we're making moves here on a Sunday night, a sad Sunday night, a somber Sunday night. Wayne Gandy, Ben Bobick. Wayne, 15 years in the NFL. I'm sure you've been in games like that one tonight where you had the lead, you lost the lead, and now questions continue to loom over this Pittsburgh Steelers organization. There are a lot of problems, but where do you see the biggest problems, and what solutions can we come up with here tonight to fix those problems?
Well, I got 2 spots defensively that I basically each and every, especially the last 2 or 3 games, I'm not getting any impact from. And to me, the only way to maybe get the attention of those guys is benching them. Juan Thornhill had the same amount of tackles as Kenneth Gainwell. 1 tackle. I'm talking about Kenneth Gainwell, the running back. He had the same amount of tackles. He had 1 tackle. You played a whole game, and you had 1 tackle. And that's just, we're talking about the guy that was bragging that this may be the best Steeler defense ever. I mean, that's blasphemy just to even make that statement. For that to happen, you just go out, play a season, and that just be the end result. But for you to go out and make a statement like that just, then I need to have some impact. Where is Juan Thornhill? That you play a whole game and only have 1 tackle. You impacted the game in no way when Tucker Kraft made enough plays that they introduced his mom, his hometown. They showed him in his high school jersey. They said he owned part of a bar, a diner.
Hey, that was interesting. I thought that was really good storytelling.
You know how many plays you have to make where they show the mileage from the nearest city. They told you the population. I mean, that's how many plays he made tonight. That they had enough time. And we all of us call games and stuff, you know. You never know. You keep you some filler over to the side just in case the game gets slow. And that's how many plays he made tonight. And Warren Thornhill ends up with 1 tackle. So that's my first. On the other side is what's wrong with Alex Highsmith? I haven't seen him make one impactful play. I couldn't remember. If he's made one, excuse me, Alex, but I don't know if it's your injury or what. Maybe he's injured, but I do know they got you in there as a starter. You came back off the leg injury, but you're not helping TJ out at all. And at some point, you got to bring some pressure to balance the defense, and that's not happening right now with him. So to me, throw Nick Herbig out there and just see how it goes.
Yeah, I got to give credit to NBC for having all that detailed storytelling for Kraft, because that was insane. And tackling's an issue for sure. Thornhill on that second half play, I was just like, that's ridiculous. Like, tackle the guy. You're paid to tackle the guy, make the tackle. They just can't make the plays. At a certain point, when these games keep happening and the standard is the standard, at what point do you look at the coaching staff? Because I see more of Danny Smith on every broadcast than anything else. It's like, let's highlight the special teams. Guy chews 18,000 wads of gum a game. I don't know how his jaw hasn't broken yet. But when you're featuring that guy, and I'm seeing that guy a ton for that, like, rah-rah, I don't know. Like, Terrell Austin hasn't really done much with the defense. Arthur Smith was an interesting move to bring in as the offensive coordinator. And at the top is Mike Tomlin. So this keeps happening. You have the most expensive defense in the league, and yet the results aren't getting there. And so at a certain point, how long do you let this leash go for, right, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, and you think about that, absolutely, because you look at it, like Wayne mentioned, actually, at the start of the show, he knew when we threw 3 straight passes out of the second half, we were donezo. We averaged 5.2 yards a carry. If I would have told you guys before this football game, hey, the Steelers are going to average 5.2 yards a carry in this football game, you'd be thinking, hey, you know what? They're probably going to win the game. It sounds like they're running the ball at will. Yeah. They were, and that's the one thing with this football team too. At least today, when they're off schedule, it's donezo, because they couldn't convert a third down. They would get behind the stick somehow. Where I remember one play where they started a little drive and then boom, they ran it in Jalen Warren. It was turned into 2nd and 15. They were done. Like there's something about they can't operate behind the sticks. Maybe it was just with this Packers defense, obviously a really good defense. The threat of Micah Parsons. Trust me, Chris Collinsworth made that very clear where Micah Parsons was at all times tonight on the field, because if he wasn't in Aaron Rodgers' head, Chris Collinsworth was convinced that he was, the way he lined up over the center on third downs today. In case you wanted to know, but I mean, it was like. It might have been credit to the Packers defense for that sake, but like it just, when they were off schedule tonight, they couldn't get it going. They anything second and long, third and long, they were out. And that's tough to see, because you're going to be in those sort of situations, especially against good football teams. And if you can't convert the occasional 3rd and 11 or 3rd and 8, or if you're 2nd and 15, at least get half those yards back and get back on schedule, then you're out. And that's something they could not do tonight. When they got off schedule, that the drives were cooked, and it was tough to see. But like I said at the beginning of this rant, 5.2 yards a carry. What are we doing, man? Jalen Corn was toting the rock pretty well, and we sort of abandoned it there in the second half, and we saw what happened.
Yeah, that in-game decision making, it makes you scratch your head. I mean, we're saying Chris Boswell is the one positive. Well, he's been the one positive for, it seems like, the last 11 years. He's been the only guy who has consistently done his job. Now, granted, he's not out there making tackles, but he's delivering some big-time kicks, and he actually gave the Steelers a chance. I'm just frustrated. I mean, this is the same old script, rinse and repeat with the Steelers team. And the talent's there. We're just not seeing it. Wayne, I'm bringing up Alex Highsmith. Maybe he is still injured. Like, what happened to him? Totally disappeared. But a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball, in my eyes, have disappeared. Like, they play half a game or they play one good quarter. A complete 4-quarter football game, it's hard to believe because everything we've seen from a Mike Tomlin coach team and what he does to galvanize his players, you'd think they'd play a complete game, but we're not seeing that week in and week out. And from my eyes, I don't know. Something's got to change.
Well, when you bring in a lot of free agents, the thing you have is you're not Mike Tomlin's guys. Though it takes a couple of years to develop that, to be under him, to understand, and now when you look at Jalen Ramsey or Darius Slay, they're long in the tooth. They are what they are. And the biggest thing maybe they can do here going into this Colts game is really be honest with Terrell Austin about can we run this defense? On paper, we have the names and the skill sets, the all-pro status, the Hall of Fame status that says, hey, we're going to be able to blitz and play man on the back end. But maybe, guys got to confess and say, hey, here and there we can do it, but we're going to need to figure out some other zone blitzes and things like that to stand up because it's not working. So it is definitely time to show Danny Dimes in that Colts offense who, with that rush game that they, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of play action, some downhill running, an explosive tight end, some big receivers. But, to me, we've seen 6-7 games here now of what's supposed to be a shutdown man-to-man coverage team not be able to cover anyone. It seems to be every week. Jamar Chase, fine. But these other games where guys are just coming, career nights, Tucker Kraft may be the offensive player of the week from tonight's game. I mean, what stats are bigger than that? Those are huge stats. I mean, he had some video game runs against us, a couple of times. So to me, it has to be more of really taking a look as a team, as a scheme. Can we run that? And even you're playing so bad that a commentator is saying the trade deadline is coming up. That's a tough situation. Chris Collinsworth's like, the trade deadline. Maybe
everyone knows it. Everyone with two eyes knows what's wrong with the Steelers. You don't need Chris Collinsworth to echo that on a national broadcast. They need a wide receiver. They need help defensively. They had a great cinematic showing of Renegade at Acrisure Stadium tonight. It didn't even wake me up. It didn't fire me up at all because I basically knew at that point what was happening. No one walks into Pittsburgh anymore fearful of that defense. And it's terrible. It's terrible to watch. It just is, Ben.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And especially when it's supposed to be the strong point of everything as well. I'm glad you mentioned the Renegade. I was scrolling on my phone. I'm like, they're playing this early on a short field after you just gave the ball away. Yeah, this is going to work. And what the Colts do, they went right, or not the Colts, the Packers do. They went right down and scored a touchdoone. I mean, it's
hey, Ben, don't jump ahead to next Sunday.
He's already next Sunday.
I am. Yeah. It's already turning. My mind's already turning what's going to happen, man.
I don't know if I'm ready for next Sunday.
Yeah, but it's just like, I mean, that's just, you want to talk about playing complementary football. Aaron Rodgers, they brought him in to do a specific job, obviously play quarterback at a high level. The Steelers off. I mean, he has answered the bill and then some. Honestly, he has been better than I think a lot of people, thought he would be for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if you thought he would be this, then you know what? Hey, good for you. Probably don't believe you, but no doubt. I mean, he's been better than you could expect him to be. And if you have to play complementary football with that, because we expected the Steelers defense to be above average, to be great. And they're not even average. They're below average. So now it's like how I compare it is for the average golfer, right? You're an average golfer. You go out there, man, I'm smacking the ball off the tee, man. I'm really getting it going off the tee, but I just can't putt. And that's like, and then there's sometimes you go out there, man, I can't keep the ball in play, but I'm putting real well. It's the same thing with the Steelers right now. Oh, the offense is keeping it going. They're moving the ball. They're scoring some points, but defense can't stop a cold. And it's like, you have to put it together if you want to win major championships, if you want to win playoff games. And right now, we'd be lucky to be in a situation where the Steelers could be potentially to win a playoff game. They'd be lucky to have that opportunity at this point.
Ben, that golf analogy seems like it hits pretty close to home for you. So
it is. I've been driving the ball well.
Hey, we've got a lot more to come on this show here tonight. The Steelers again falling to the Packers 35-25 on Sunday Night Football. Hey, still to come on this Sunday night edition of the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. We'll break down more of the Steelers-Packers matchup. We'll also preview that Steelers game next Sunday. They're hosting the 7-1 Indianapolis Colts. They've got their work cut out for them, and we're going to talk about it coming up right after this. The NFL season is here. It's been here, and we're happy it's here, except for tonight and when the Steelers lose. And honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans, cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting those tickets can be a hassle. Between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout, it can be pretty frustrating. Kind of like how the Steelers lost tonight. That's why I use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. I pulled up Gametime and in just a couple taps saw amazing deals talking about my favorite NFL games as low as $100, and the app makes it super simple. I can see the exact view from my seat before buying. I also love the zone deals. Pick the section, Gametime picks the seats, and you save big time. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I've bought tickets before. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Final 30 minutes of this Locked On Steelers squad show following the Steelers' 35-25 loss to the Packers on Sunday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers, he was pretty good in the first half. The defense, decent in the first half, just disappeared in the second half. Talking about the changes, solutions with Wayne Gandy, 15-year NFL vet, played a few seasons with the Steelers. Ben Bobick, Pittsburgh native, sports anchor extraordinaire, Steelers fan through and through. I'm Tyler Feldman. So glad you're with us. Boy, it's a gauntlet for the Steelers team. It's not going to get any easier. The Ravens, who won here on this Sunday, they're 2-5, and I'm nervous. I'm nervous about a 2-5 Baltimore team. That's where I'm at, guys. I'm worried. It's a long season. There's a lot of games left, but the Steelers have the Colts, and then they have the Chargers. And it doesn't get easier, Wayne.
No, it doesn't. And when you talk about, as we mentioned before the break, the Colts come in with an offense and a running back that definitely you have to consider, early season MVP, Jonathan Taylor, and what he's been able to do. And he was doing this 2 years ago before that injury. So this is not something that he's not capable of. And then you got Daniel Jones in there doing what everybody thought he might do for the Giants, but, found a more peaceful city to operate in Indianapolis outside of that New York media, and seems to be very efficient. And that's what a lot of young quarterbacks need, a run game. It'll make you a better quarterback, just like it'll make you a better quarterback when you're older. I think that's why, Aaron Rodgers can be so great for this team if you can run the ball, which they were doing tonight. And especially when you really don't have that second or third receiver. I did like a couple of shots to Roman Wilson to show that we do have some top end speed. We can get behind you, whether we, hook up or not, we can threaten you with it. I think nobody is really afraid of that tight end package getting behind. And that's why in those 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, Ben was talking about when we get off schedule or get behind the chains, the offense is not really set up for that down and distance. It's set up for things where you can get the ball out quick, and make those 5 yards, 6-yard catches and mid first down. But headed forward with Herbert and this Colts team that has caught everybody by surprise, a lot of things have to be fixed. I mean, defensively today, we had no sacks and only 1 tackle for a loss in this game. That speaks to the defensive front, the linebackers, and even as I said, when we were blitzing, we were just not getting there. A couple of times when they did get to Love, it was because he was trying to sucker him in and throw the screen. It wasn't like it was necessarily a function that they were beating and getting up the field. He was hoping they'd come and he would feed the ball off in the screen game. So, and to me, to help out older TJ Watt, you can't look for him to make all the plays. Who is going to be that other guy? And to me, the Steelers have always, when that defense has been rocking and rolling, it's been 2 guys off the edge, 2 linebacker types. They've always come in tandem that seems to affect the game. And right now, to me, that one half over there, Alex Highsmith, is just not bringing anything to the party.
Brian Park says, Wayne, you hit the nail on the head. Taylor is going to kill us. And then Four Horsemen says, Taylor will go off for 275 yards and 5 TDs next week on us. Hey, Four Horsemen, if that happens, I'm leaving the show. There's no chance I'm talking another week about that kind of performance against the Steelers defense. And what's crazy about the Steelers team, and hear me out, they can go ahead and lose 2 straight, give up 30+. I could totally see this team next week somehow holding the Colts to sub 20 on the scoreboard and winning that football game at home. Don't call me crazy, but that's what the Steelers team is. They're average, more often below average, paid a lot of money, not performing to that expectation. But I could totally see the way the NFL has been this year, the Colts falling on the road to this Steelers team. And TJ Watt, Wayne, to your point, you need another guy. Well, TJ Watt hasn't even been the guy this season. So you need more guys. I don't know. They need a wide receiver. They need help defensively. And they've got to be better managing the football game in game, making those quick decisions.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing. We
Go ahead.
mentioned positives here. I mean, if there's anything, another minor positive out of this game is, I know it wasn't in a lot of his receiving yards were in scrap time, but I mean, it was nice to see Roman Wilson kind of become part of the offense there. He scored his first career touchdown. He had 4 catches for 70-some yards. I mean, again, a lot in scrap time, but if that builds that kid's confidence, then I'll take it, because you know what? If he can start a little bit of a rapport there, that could come big down the stretch, because I think that's what we talked about a lot about needing that receiver. I'm not so sure he is the second receiver they need. I'm not so sure that, to be quite frank, I don't even know if the second receiver that they need is out there in a trade. I mean, maybe, I mean, if you go and get someone that we don't know that's available and like, oh, wow, they made a spot, but like, are they really out there? I mean, who knows? But it was good to see Roman Wilson get a little bit of get a little rhythm here, maybe get some confidence, because that could prove vital down the stretch, even though it wasn't in garbage time. Still, to go and make catches in the NFL at any point in time gives you some confidence. Aaron Rodgers knows that he can rely on 10 now. I'd like to see what he could do moving forward and the back half of this season, to see him start to come along. What really is his rookie season. Obviously, last year was hurt the entire year, so it's really like a de facto rookie year for him.
Wayne, what were you going to say? Do you have something else to chime in there?
No.
Okay. Jonnu Smith was out there. I meant to click on this. Held Jacobs to 33 rushing yards. He's a good back. Yeah, I mean, you want to look at positives. If you were to tell me Jacobs would have 33 rushing yards and Steelers would give up their – God, it's that secondary for me. And when you look at the Colts now, and then you have the Chargers – there's a good chance the Steelers lose both of those games. They're 4-5 after that. Let's say the Ravens, Lamar was out and they still found a way to win. Let's say the Ravens win their next 2. They're 4-5. I mean, we're right back to square one. It's just that's the way this division is shaking up. Doesn't it feel like that?
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be that last week or two of the season for the Steelers. And that's kind of the team that we have. I mean, you have to be honest about what you're putting out there on the field. We have a team that can sneak into the playoffs. They caught a couple of breaks. So they're in a position that you feel like even if they win this division, it's going to be one of those 9-8 type situations, which it doesn't matter. You win a division, you get a home game, and go from there. But I don't think it was ever going to be one of those, 12. We don't have a 12-5 roster. We don't have 11-6 roster. We'd be lucky to get.
Don't say that to Christopher Carter, because I feel like his prediction was a 10, 11 or 12 win season, I think.
No, I thought it was like I saw 10-7 and grabbing that last playoff spot. Now things have shaken out to where that it could end up being a 10-7 win the division, but we got a lot of work to go, and we got to try to muster up. And as you said, Tyler, Ben, defensively at the safety position, we definitely need to check the trade deadline.
Yes.
I don't think we have that guy, especially with Deshaun Elliott getting hurt today. That's a window where, okay, we're losing a major part and none of the other parts. Chuck Clark can't tackle. Juan Thornhill won't make a tackle. So that is definitely a spot. Other people just like Alex Highsmith, are you hurt? Do we need to do something else with you? It seemed to be more of a motivation thing. So I would start at somewhere in the safe secondary, trying to grab a part and maybe a receiver. But other than that, you are basically who you are now. And now it's about the motivation.
We're a long ways away from when Juan Thornhill at training camp said that this was going to be the best Steelers defense of all time, ever. And I laughed. If you go back to whatever show we did when he said that, I laughed at it then. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't have laughed at that. And now I'm laughing again, because to say that and then to see what the secondary has been incapable of accomplishing, it's just crazy. That's just crazy. Changes need to be made. I think you got to find someone in the secondary at the deadline.
Yeah, you know what? I saw that the Dolphins are looking to trade Minkah Fitzpatrick. So, maybe they could go and bring him back.
That'd be nice, because Daniel Jones has had a renaissance here. I know he's young, but he's had a renaissance with a new organization. The Colts scare me. I need to scroll back up here. Rico is Mr. Positive in the comments. There's a lot of negativity, but we're going to highlight Rico. Steelers will beat both Colts and Chargers. Rico
Suave, baby. Let's keep it real.
Hey, stranger things have happened. If they do that, 6-3 sounds kind of nice. But after this game, I don't think we're overreacting. I don't think we're overreacting about what we saw here tonight, because we keep seeing it. And I think that's the largest problem. When we come back here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show, we'll wrap up the final 15 minutes of tonight's episode and just try to continue to figure out ways in which we can answer for how the Steelers played tonight. That's next right here on the Steelers Squad Show on the Locked On Podcast Network. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, final quarter here on the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. Wayne Gandy, 15-year NFL veteran, Also joining us tonight, Ben Bobick, Pittsburgh native and Mr. Pittsburgh when it comes to all things Yins. I'm Tyler Feldman. Thanks for staying up late with us. 12:30 on the East Coast. If you're on the West Coast, it's not 12:30, it's 10:30. That's how it works. Or maybe 9:30. Let's fix my math there. It's getting late. Guys, I just want to leave the room open for any thoughts that have been on your mind here on the show that you want to discuss. Wayne, I'll start with you. Is there anything we haven't touched on that you want to hit on here tonight? I mean, we talked tackling. That was a big issue. Defense. Didn't get much offensively in the second half. What else is lingering on your tongue right now about how the Steelers game shook out tonight?
Well, the field looked better.
Yeah, but I still saw the Pitt logo underneath the Steelers logo.
You can't go to bed mad. You got to find something to be able to feel look better, and the uniforms were just as ugly as we thought.
Yeah, they weren't great.
They look like traffic signs on the side of the highway telling you which way to go. But really, offensively, I thought we had a great game plan to start this game. I thought being able to run the ball, we've shown that we can sustain that. Being able to get the ball to DK, even when they try to roll the coverage, that was great. Getting Roman Wilson in it was also a big point. Now, how does this Isaac Seumalo injury linger on? Will we have to play Spencer Anderson? Because that was our key backup who went in there at left guard, who seems to be a very fine offensive lineman, but the package of him playing tight end has been something that has really brought the run game alive. So we have to keep our eye on that injury and how long Deshaun Elliott will be out will really impact this team. I don't know. Did we see was Jabril Peppers in uniform tonight? I couldn't remember seeing him on the special teams. I know they didn't put him in the secondary, but the secondary they need to have their own meeting about what they want to become. It's too much talent, too much pride, too many guys in there that just seem they still can't put Jalen Ramsey in the slot. That doesn't work. He does a great run force. He looks like he wants to move over to safety. Move him to safety because he plays it well. He gets down in the box. He makes some plays at the line of scrimmage. But the tackling is just something that, as I said at the beginning, that has nothing to do with scheme, coordinators, head coaches. That has to do with picking up your check on Tuesday, calling your bank and make sure it arrived, that kind of thing. That's a personal thing. That's not – you're only in the league because you can block and you can tackle better than everybody else. So we don't do a lot of teaching you how to do that. That's what you have to go out and do. So that is something that really was the biggest thing that stood out to me that gives me the biggest concern defensively. That just was just deplorable.
Steelers defensively gave up 454 yards of total offense. Packers averaged more than 7 yards a play offensively. It just can't happen, Ben. It just can't happen. And now in the comments section right now, we're seeing some chatter about some missed offside. That offside penalty, it would have still been fourth down, I believe. And so that wouldn't have changed too much. It was a glaring miss by the officiating crew. But I don't think you can pinpoint the officiating as the reason the Steelers lost this football game. They flat out got beat. The Packers scored pretty much every drive in the second half. There was no stopping Jordan Love in this Packers offense. And so now the question is the expectations. You're facing a red-hot Danny Dimes, Ben, as you like to say, Daniel Jones for those more feeling proper, here on a Sunday night. Justin Herbert, who's going to Lakers game courtside with his hot new girlfriend. I mean, you got all these young star quarterbacks that are facing the Steelers, and the secondaries, like Wayne said earlier in the show, Swiss cheese, a bunch of holes. They went through a religious epiphany and they became holy in the wrong way, right through there. I'm just kind of sick of the Steelers at this point. Now, I don't mean that to be rude about the players or the team. It's just this is what is now the Steelers. They aren't scaring any opponents. No one's walking into Pittsburgh scared. They don't have that same edge or that same dynamic energy. And I don't know what changed. Maybe it was Big Ben retiring, and they just haven't found that thing after that. But I don't know. It's just I don't get emotional about maybe I seem emotional, but it is what it is. This is what the Steelers are. Grateful for all the good times growing up, but this is what that organization has become, Ben.
Yeah, especially on a night like tonight puts it in perspective. It's a Sunday night football game in Pittsburgh. Everyone's primed up for it. You get the Packers coming to town. It's a big game for Aaron Rodgers playing his former team, getting a chance to beat all 32 teams in the NFL, and they play like that, and they fall completely flat on their face. And then you're hearing "Go Pack, Go" chants in the crowd. So it's tough. Like you mentioned, fear in coming into the stadium, and all the season ticket holders made all their money back today by selling them to Packers fans because it felt like a little bit of a mini Lambeau Field here tonight at on the North Shore, especially when things started going south for the Steelers. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to see. But like you said, though, and I will flip it, like Wayne said too, you can't go to bed mad. This Colts game just feels like one of the Steelers pull out, man. If they drag them in the mud, bring Indianapolis in the mud with them on Sunday at 1:00, I could see them finding a way to win. Because when you really look at it, when you look at the Colts, and this is not to downplay what the Colts have done. It's been a tremendous start to their season. Winning games in the NFL is a big deal. But you look at their 7 wins, 5 of them are against teams that are below 500. They beat the Titans twice. A lot of, South Pittsburgh High School down here in Tennessee could beat the Titans at least once here. That's how bad they are this season. Shout out to the Pirates, who are going to win a 1A state title later this season. But that's what it comes down to here, man. Like they beat the teams they're supposed to, but you look at the teams that they played in terms of the good ones. They lost to the Rams. They squeaked one out against the Broncos, which is credit to them. It was a late penalty. It was week 2 as well. And then they also beat the Chargers, which was a good win. But if the Steelers could come in, stop the run, and put a stop on Jonathan Taylor, which is a lot easier said than done, then it seems you can make that offense one-dimensional and want to make Daniel Jones beat you, which if you look at the same Steelers team that showed up the last 2 weeks, I think anybody could beat them when it comes to their secondary, to our point. But it just feels like it's one of those games where they drag the Colts in the mud with them and they find a way to win. And we're sitting here at 4:30 on a Sunday thinking, you know what? Maybe it isn't that bad. Maybe they are going to figure it out. They could just do this weird thing again, and all these dots connect each other. And you know what? Maybe they'll be okay. But when it comes to the grand scheme of things, to your point, Tyler, it's tough right now. They're not a good football team.
Let's digest this for a quick second. Stephanie, hire James Harrison for coaching the deaf, which I think she means defense, which she does. I just had to read it that way. Interesting. I think James would want to suit up, though. He'd be like defensive coordinator, but he'd be in full uniform and pads, ready to get out there. I just don't know if he has the ability to just stand on the sideline without having the ability to get out on the football field.
Yeah, James Harrison as far as she hit the nail on the head as far as someone to be able to bring in a mental toughness to some of the players we're talking about. That's one thing James brought in through his play and his attitude and his approach. And some of that it exemplifies what we're missing, I think, as Steeler fans in the players on the field. We don't really see that intensity. We don't see anybody on the edge. One more word, they're going to throw you out. You don't see that in this Steeler team. Everybody seems to be very nice, polite, and they act big. Once the ref get in front of them, now all of a sudden I want to fight. Once the fight
saw that a couple times tonight.
Yeah, I want to fight now, but you didn't want to fight like 2 seconds ago when I came. So as far as demeanor, maybe that's something that I know when I got to Pittsburgh, that let me know that I was not. I was in a special place. Was some of the old players being around. The meeting the Mel Blunts and the Franco Harris and those guys, the Joe Greens, and it seemed like they was passing me the baton. Like I had a responsibility that I didn't know I had, at the Rams the 5 years previous before I got there. So, but something about this team now just is not of that Steel City. And it could just be that it's just been a lot of influx. The key parts are from outside. They were not homegrown. They were not drafted. So, they're not going to quickly assimilate to what we want. And we just kind of have to take their style of play as they give it.
Yeah, this was a realistic possibility for the Steelers this season. There was a lot of positive, a lot of hope going into this season with what they could be. But the reality is, Wayne, to what you just said, yeah, they're picking their guys from other teams right now. There's no homegrown build-up situation. And maybe that's where the Steelers are right now. And so maybe you got to dip down into that like terrible part of football and not winning football games. And so you get a high draft pick, but they've been so consistently just above average for so many years that they haven't had those picks, right? I mean, heck, Tyler Warren will shred this defense. That's Penn State alumnus, Tyler Warren. Just want to throw that out there. I mean, that's a big possibility because tonight they let Kraft mac and cheese this defense. Powdered up, they ripped open the packet, threw the powder on, had some water in those noodles, and threw it in the microwave, and bam. I'm trying not to get too emotional with this because we know what the Steelers team is, and we've seen it these last 2 weeks, and they're a defensively depleted team who can't tackle, have no identity still, banged up a little bit, an aging quarterback who played a really good first half of football, but weapons-wise, dropping balls, not making catches. I don't know. A lot to say about a team that I'm not sure really deserves being talked about all that much. Like, they don't deserve this. I certainly enjoy doing this, but where the organization, where the franchise is right now, it's going nowhere. They're in quicksand. It's been the same thing for a number of years. All right, we got a few more minutes. Any final thoughts, guys?
I will say about Tyler Warren, though, I was saving that for Wednesday just to get Chris going when it comes to Penn State tight ends and the weaponry he is for that Colts offense. But, I mean, that's going to speak for itself because that dude is as advertised, and that's going to be an issue for the Steelers next Sunday. But, man, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there, dude. You really did. But at the same time, I'm sticking with Wayne when it comes to let's not go to bed mad. It is what it is. They could have beat us 100-0. It's still just one loss. There's a long season ahead. We're not even into November yet. We haven't hit Halloween yet. They've got a long season ahead. They got a lot of stuff to get back to the drawing board on. There's a lot of football left to be played. The division's still there to be won. They still got to play the Ratbirds twice. They still get the Bungles one more time, and the Browns for that matter when it comes to the divisional play. But I mean, when you get into it though, man, it's tough right now. There's a lot of looking in the mirror has to happen this week. But they have another opportunity on Sunday, 1:00 when Indianapolis comes to town to right the ship. And a win could be just what this team needs. And quite frankly, it is exactly what this team needs. But it's a long season ahead. And 4-3 is a lot better than 3-4 or anything worse. So you got to take what the position they're in and see where they could go from here.
Wayne.
Yeah, I'm right with Ben. Thank God for a bad division. No, sometimes you hope to be, part of the, what's known as the best division in football. And sometimes it's good to be part of the worst division in football because that means there's always hope. So no matter how many times we come on in here, if it can be one week we're cheering and 1 week we're not, we might end up winning the NFC North.
Grandson TV. Hell, I'm 40 years old, and I think I can score a touchdown on that defense. Let's leave on that note. Steelers fall to the Packers 35-25 on Sunday Night Football. Steelers falling to 4-3. Next week, it's the Steelers hosting the Indianapolis Colts, sporting a 7-1 record. They'll be coming to Acrisure Stadium, 1 Eastern. on CBS. A reminder, you can listen to the audio of tonight's show on the Locked On Steelers podcast channel, wherever and however you podcast. And hey, Steelers Nation, do yourself a favor, like and subscribe. It helps us out. It helps Christopher Carter out. He's the host of the Locked On Steelers daily podcast Monday through Friday. I'm sure he'll have a show that will be worth listening to tomorrow when you wake up and head to work. But that'll do it for this Sunday Night Football edition of the Locked On Steelers Squad Show. For Wayne Gandy and Ben Bobick, I'm Tyler Feldman saying good night, and here we go. We'll see you next Wednesday night to preview that Colts matchup.